Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom are not expected back in the lineup until midsummer. Now, we kind of knew this about Jacob deGrom. He didn't play, just about all of last season. But manager Bruce Bochy said in an interview that Scherzer was on the early side of his recovery back from back surgery and could be back in June rather than July, which is still wild to me that the Rangers won the World Series and they didn't even have Jacob deGrom at their disposal. Like, he's one of the best pitchers when he is healthy, probably in recent history.
Oh, yeah.
I think people forget about Jacob deGrom because he's made of glass. But when he was healthy, he was putting up numbers that are like better than Bob Gibson. So crazy to me that they won a World Series. And even looking at Max Scherzer, you could tell that he was not 100% in most of the postseason. Like, he had some good outings here and there, but certainly did not look as sharp as I think that he probably could because he was coming back from an injury. And of course, you want to play in the World Series, you want to play in the postseason, but maybe they rushed it, which makes me feel like they're definitely not going to rush it this time.
I agree with you. And it really is remarkable what the Rangers did, because when DeGrom went down, didn't we all think, oh man, what a crucial piece of the puzzle for the Rangers. This really just tanks their World Series hopes. And then they had so many different guys in that rotation step up. And you're right about Max. That's what I love about Max, is that you knew he wasn't 100%. Remember the initial reports last year where that, oh, he's done for the postseason? And it was like, no, he's not. He's coming back. So he wasn't as effective, but he was effective enough. I mean, he did have, 3 innings pitched in one of those games against the Diamondbacks that the Rangers ended up winning. So he was a crucial part of them getting there. And so if you're the Rangers, you are good enough where, again, it's early in the season and you can afford to be without these guys until the middle of the summer. So make sure they're 100%. I just want to see DeGrom. Like, I remember last year when we played that soundbite when he was out for the season. And if you watched it, he was just almost in tears. And I felt so bad for the guy. It's like, again, he was pitching top of his game. He was unbelievable. And he's absolutely crushed. And then he has to sit and watch his team win the World Series. Of course, he wanted them to win, but not being able to be a part of that run just had to kill him. So I hope he can finally get right and stay right. But man, that's just been the story of his career.
Yeah, it was Jacob deGrom being all sad and tearful, and then Jenks is just in the background. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's gonna be the new. What was that quote from the announcer that was in the middle of an apology? And that'll be a line drive to left as Castellanos homers again. That was so funny. That's you now. I'm gonna do that every time we have like an emotional quote. I'm like, and Jenks was in the background. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3. Who was that guy counting down a hard rock song at the eulogy of this baseball? Oh, that was Jenkins. That's the day he got the pink slip. No empathy.
He's born to rock.
He's born to rock. You know what? It was worth it. It was worth it, bro.
It was worth it.
The Broncos went 11-19 in his starts over 2 seasons. Never made the playoffs. They tried to convince him to give up some of his guaranteed money at the end of last year, around $37 million. And they said, you need to find a way to maybe give some of this up or we're going to bench you. And he said no. So guess what? They benched him. Does he have any future as a star in this league, or is it over for him? He says, he's saying all the right things. He says over the next 2 seasons, he wants to win 2 Super Bowls. I don't think so, buddy. But what do you see a path where Russell Wilson reinvents himself or becomes the Wilson of old at all?
Yeah, how many comeback stories have we seen at the quarterback position? Hell, look at Baker Mayfield. If Baker Mayfield can have a comeback season and put together a nice little year where his team goes to the postseason, yeah, I think Russell Wilson can do it. He actually, statistically speaking, did not have a bad year last year. And I know a lot of that was due to the fact that he knew he was on the chopping block and he probably had to, play a little better. But still, there is a decent quarterback in there somewhere. Is he going to be a top 5 quarterback? No, he's probably never going to return to the level of play that we saw him when he was contending for Super Bowls back when he was with Seattle. But he's a smart guy. I do think he's a hard worker. And I do think for the right price, somebody's getting a pretty solid veteran quarterback, because that's the thing. It's all relative to the market. finding a good quarterback is so damn hard that I think I would take Russell Wilson over, some of the quarterbacks available in the draft.
Oh, I agree if you're looking for just maybe a temporary fix, kind of a Band-Aid. Here's the thing, Russell Wilson wasn't awful last season. He got better under Sean Payton. So I know it's easy to build a narrative and to play into it. Now, he certainly was not the quarterback that we saw in Seattle. There's no question about that. And I think the difficult thing with Russ is twofold. Number one is he's not the player he used to be. I don't expect that to happen. And number two, we've kind of heard this and seen this over the last few years of his career. He says all the right things, but he's very robotic. And you never really hear anyone have Russ's back. I mean, truly have his back. Do you know what I mean? Patriots, I don't know why I said Patriots because you just put that in the chat, but any team that he's played for, any teammates that he has had, they say all the right things, but it's very generic. It's sort of placating the media, but you never really hear anyone stand up and say, no, Russ is our guy. Russ is our guy. I love Russell Wilson. I have his back. That's my quarterback. You never really hear that about Russell Wilson at all. He's kind of his own entity, and he's very difficult, I feel like, to rally around as a quarterback unless he is winning at a high rate. He did that in Seattle, but when he's not winning, he's not a guy I feel like you get behind.
But is Alabama you can trust in those close game situations? For me, it still feels like a no.
Yeah, no. Chelsa, it's a great question. Last year when they were the number 1 overall seed heading into the NCAA tournament, they ranked 3rd in defense, according to KenPom. And they won so many of those close games, those 1-possession, 2-possession games that came down the wire, because they were great on defense. This year, whenever they play a good team, whether it's Tennessee, whether it was Purdue in the non-conference or Creighton in the non-conference or whoever it may be, whenever they go up against a good team, the reason they're not winning these games is because of the defense. They can't get stops when they need it. So, no, I don't trust Bama at all. I don't think this team's going to make it very far. I think they're probably going to end up being a 4 seed in the tournament, and I could definitely see myself betting the 13 seed on the money line. If they do get by that, I think they're losing in the 4 or 5 game. So I don't think this team's going to the Sweet 16. I think they're one of the bigger frauds at the tops of the lower seeds. So to answer your question, I don't trust them in late games, and I don't trust them moving forward.
And I wanted to ask you about a conference tournament or two, but particularly the WCC. And Gonzaga, after that loss against St. Mary's earlier in the season, they've just reeled off, 8 straight now, 9 straight. They just beat St. Mary's. And so this is a team that we're used to seeing in the top 5, top 10. Now they're slipping to the top 25, playing really good basketball. Do you like them in the conference tournament?
I do, Jenks. I do. When this market immediately opened, Gonzaga and St. Mary's were both even money at plus 100. And I said, ooh, giving us the Zags at plus 100. Absolutely. Yep. Now it's minus 110. I still think it's good value because the way I look at it, guys, when you bet conference tournaments, if you like a team, then go ahead and bet that team. If not, I think really for me, it's all about value. The beauty of the WCC conference tournament is the top 2 seeds get double buys. So Gonzaga and St. Mary's are automatically in the semifinal round. The reason Gonzaga's price is minus 110 is because they're the 2 seed. They get the 3 seed San Francisco. They're going to be favored by like 10.5 points in that game. And then when they go up against St. Mary's, most likely in the championship, they're going to be favored by like 3.5 in that game. They just beat them by 15 on their home floor. So I think the price is really why I like Gonzaga. I think they win the tournament, but I also think the price is great because when they play St. Mary's, they're going to be minus 140, minus 150. And when they play San Francisco, they're going to be 10.5 point favorites. So I still like the Zags. I take them minus 110.